Okay, today we're predicting the Detroit Lions records. Um, so looking at their roster, their offense looks great, and as long as they continue what they did last year, I think their offense looks good. They have a very, I think, underrated running game with Gibbs and Montgomery. Skill position players aren't great, but they're above average with Amon and Brock Wright, who I think is good in Laporta, who should factor in as a rookie. But it's the offensive line I think that's probably one of top 10 ish with guys like Frank Ragnow, Decker, Pinay, Sewell, and their offense looks good. Could work a bit on the wide receiver since Williams got suspended, but our offense looks good. Their defense, on the other hand, not I wish they did more during the offseason. Their defensive line is not great. They do have Aiden Hutchinson, but their defensive line ain't green. Their linebacker, Campbell has better. I'm not sure how much of big of a factor he's gonna be. I like Anzalone, but he's not really the top linebacker. And the defense, they did bring Cam Sutton, but that's pretty much it for the secondary. So pretty much similar to last year. I expect them offense to be good and their defense to hold them back. So your first game versus the Chiefs. It's a Thursday nighter. Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions. I don't think Lions defense can stop Mahomes or Kelsey. And in a shootout, I'm taking the Chiefs all day. Then you have them versus the Seahawks. The Seahawks, another team that has a troubling defense and a great offense. I do think the Seahawks defense is better than the Lions defense, and the offenses are evenly matched, so it's going to be close. But I think the Lions have too big of a home field advantage, so I'm going to take the Lions. Then you have a game versus the Falcons, definitely a potential upset game for the Lions. Atlanta has a really strong run game, and as long as Desmond Ridder is average, their passing game shouldn't be horrible, which can definitely stress out the Lions defense. But similarly, Falcons also have a really bad defense, and the Lions have a more proven offense, so I'm going to take the Lions. Then you have them versus the Packers on a Thursday night. The Packers do have a slight home field advantage and on a short week, but it's not big or anything. Detroit to Green Bay is not that far. Um, but so this one, Packers, their defense is good. Not sure if they're good enough to stop the Lions. The Lions swept the Packers last year too. Um, Packers offense, not sure how they're gonna do with Jordan Love, but Packers just don't have much on offense other than as long as the Packers run game does not take over, I see the Lions beating the Packers. Then you have a game versus Carolina. Another potential upset for the Lions. Carolina do have a young defense, but I don't think they're good enough to contain the Lions' run game just yet, or to contain the Lions' passing game. The, and Panthers' offense is really dependent on Bryce Young, but their wide receivers are not that good, so I'm gonna give it to the Lions. Then you have them versus the Bucks. Bucks are coming off a bye. I do think Bucks are one of the better defenses that can slow down the Lions. And the Bucks offense, they're not good, but Lions aren't a good defense either, so I'm taking the Bucks here. Then you have a game versus the Ravens. Ravens another top tier team. They have a very good defense that can definitely slow down the Lions. Their offense is another good that can stress it out. But I see this as an upset game, so I'm taking the Lions here. Then you have a game versus the Raiders. Raiders, their defense is so bad. I see the Lions going right through it. The Raiders do have a potentially good offense with Josh Jacobs as long as he doesn't hold out and Davante Adams, but I trust the Lions offense more, so I'm gonna take the Lions. Then you have them versus the Chargers. Lions are coming off a bye, but that's still a home field advantage, adjusting to the West Coast. The Chargers, another team with a very explosive offense. The trio wide receivers they have, I think it will dictate this game. Lions secondary is not good, and and the Chargers defense does have talent, so I'm taking the Chargers here. Then you have a game against the Bears. Bears have another team with a very good offense, though very unproven. Um, I think the Lions are a more proven team, so I'm taking the Lions here. We have a game versus the Packers, so it's Thursday nighter. I think Jordan Love will be a better passer here, and I don't see the Packers getting swept again, so I'm taking the Packers here. Okay, then you have a game versus the Saints. I think the Saints are I think the Saints are overrated. I think the Lions defense should go through the Saints defense and their secondary as long as Cameron Jordan doesn't become a problem. And the Saints offense could have a potentially good game with players like Olave and Kamara. But I see the Lions winning this, so I'm gonna take the Lions. Then you have a game versus the Bears. Bears, they're coming off a bye. The Bears are much improved this year. I do not see them sweeping the Lions. I'm taking the Bears. Then you have a game versus the Broncos. The Broncos, I think they're another team that's much improved. Their defense is one that can definitely slow down the Lions' offense, and I think the Broncos' offense improved, especially with Sean Payton. Um, Lions, Lions, their offense, I think will get shut down. I'm taking the Broncos here. Then you have a game versus Minnesota. Minnesota, another pretty much similar in position. Another team with a very strong offense and a lackluster defense. Ravens, Justin Jefferson, pretty much their biggest weapon. I don't think the Lions can stop him, but Lions players like Amon-Ra and Swift, not Swift, Gibbs can definitely go right through that Vikings defense. So but I'm still giving it to the Vikings in the first game. Then you have them versus the Cowboys. I don't think the Lions are on par with the Cowboys just yet. The Cowboys defensive guys like Parsons, Lawrence, Diggs can slow down the Lions offense, especially their only weapon being Amon-Ra. And the Lions defense not good enough to contain players like Lamb, Cooks, or Pollard. So I'm giving it to the Lions. And if your final games against the Vikings, possibly for the division, I don't see the Vikings sweeping the Lions. So I'm gonna give it. So in the end, after the Lions going 9-8, 3-2 in the division, 6-2 at home, and 3-6 away.